Have you ever wondered how a tiny pill can have such a tremendous impact on the human body? This marvel of modern medicine is made possible by pharmacodynamics, a fascinating branch of pharmacology. You see, pharmacodynamics is the study of what drugs do to the body and how they do it. It's like a dance, with the drugs and the body as partners, each affecting the other's movements. This dance is complex, intricate, and essential to understanding how medications work. For healthcare professionals, it's vital to understand the steps of this dance. It helps pharmacists to predict how a drug will behave in the body and to tailor treatment plans to each individual patient. It's the foundation upon which safe and effective medication use is built. Now that you have a basic understanding of what pharmacodynamics is, let's delve deeper into the principles of drug action. A drug's journey doesn't end once it enters your body. That's just the beginning. It's like a traveler who's just arrived in a new city. The real adventure starts when they begin to interact with the local environment. In the case of drugs, this environment is your body's own systems. Let's talk about the principles of drug action. These principles are essentially the rules of the game, guiding how drugs behave once they're inside us. First off, there's bioavailability. This is all about how much of the drug actually makes it into your bloodstream after administration. It's like how many tourists actually get to see the city's attractions, not just the airport. Next, we have metabolism. This is the process where your body starts to break down the drug, essentially transforming it into a form that your body can use or get rid of. It's like the traveler sampling the local cuisine and using the energy to explore the city. And finally, there's excretion. This is the final stage of the journey, where the drug, or what's left of it, leaves your body. It's the equivalent of the traveler packing their bags and heading home after their adventure. All these processes occur simultaneously and continuously from the moment the drug enters your body. They determine how much of the drug gets to its intended destination, how long it stays there, and when it leaves. But drugs don't act in a vacuum. They interact with your body's own systems to produce their effects. And this is where things get really interesting. Just like a traveler who learns the local language to communicate better, drugs speak to your body using a complex language of chemical signals. In essence, every drug has a key, and this key fits into specific locks in your body called receptors. When the key fits the lock, it triggers a response, like opening a door. This response is what we experience as the drug's effect. These principles lay the foundation for how drugs work. But where exactly do they take action? Drugs are like highly skilled secret agents. They know exactly where to go and what to do. So let's dive deeper into the world of pharmacology and talk about the site and mechanisms of drug action. First and foremost, drugs are not magic bullets. They don't just wander around your body, creating effects randomly. Instead, they act on specific targets, usually proteins, within the body. These proteins can be enzymes, ion channels, or receptors, and they each have a specific function in your body. The drug's job is to modify or control that function. Now, let's discuss the mechanisms of drug action. There are three main mechanisms: agonists, antagonists, and enzyme inhibitors. Agonists are like the best friends of your body's proteins. They bind to the same receptors as your body's natural chemicals and mimic their effects. For example, morphine is an agonist that binds to the same receptors as endorphins, your body's natural painkillers. On the flip side, we have antagonists. They're more like the party poopers. They bind to receptors, but unlike agonists, they don't activate them. Instead, they block the receptors and prevent other chemicals from activating them. An example of this is naloxone, a drug that can reverse an opioid overdose by blocking the opioid receptors. Lastly, we have enzyme inhibitors. These are the master manipulators. They bind to enzymes and either slow down or stop their activity. A good example is aspirin, which inhibits an enzyme involved in inflammation and pain. But here's the catch. Not all bodies react to drugs in the same way. Why is that? Well, that's a topic for our next scene. Just remember, understanding the site and mechanisms of drug action is crucial in the world of pharmacology. It's what allows us to predict a drug's effect, to tailor treatments, and to develop new drugs in the fight against disease. But not all bodies react to drugs in the same way. Why is that? Imagine taking a medication and it having no effect, or worse, an adverse one. Why does this happen? Well, there are several factors that can modify a drug's action. Let's start with patient-specific factors. Age is an important one. Young children and elderly individuals often respond differently to drugs than adults. This is due to differences in metabolism, organ function, and other physiological variables. For instance, infants have immature liver and kidney functions, which can slow down drug elimination, while elderly individuals may have decreased organ functions, which can also affect drug metabolism and elimination. Weight is another key patient-specific factor. The same dose of a drug may have a greater effect in a smaller person than in a larger person. This is because drug distribution can be affected by body fat and muscle mass. Health status also plays a significant role. A person with liver or kidney disease may not metabolize or excrete a drug as efficiently as a healthy individual, leading to higher drug concentrations in the body. Genetic variations can also affect drug metabolism, causing some people to metabolize certain drugs more quickly or slowly than others. Now, let's move on to drug-specific factors. Dosage, of course, is fundamental. A higher dose generally produces a stronger drug response, but it also increases the risk of side effects. The route of administration can also modify a drug's action. Oral administration, for instance, involves the drug passing through the digestive system, which can alter the drug and affect its absorption. In contrast, intravenous administration delivers the drug directly into the bloodstream, bypassing the digestive system and offering a quicker onset of action. Lastly, drug interactions can significantly alter a drug's effect. When two or more drugs are taken together, they can interact in ways that enhance or diminish their effects, or even result in new effects. Understanding these factors is crucial to ensuring the safe and effective use of drugs. Scene script. Let's think of drug receptors as locks and drugs as keys. But how does the body respond when the right key finds the right lock? Well, the body is a complex system with many types of receptors, each responding to specific types of drugs. These receptors are often categorized into families, such as G-protein-coupled receptors, ion channel receptors, enzyme-linked receptors, and intracellular receptors, each with its unique structure and function. The interaction between a drug and its receptor is akin to a dance. A drug molecule, like a dancer, binds to a receptor, its partner, triggering a series of events within a cell. This drug-receptor interaction can either block or stimulate a biological response. For instance, painkillers work by binding to specific receptors in the brain, blocking the perception of pain. Now, how does the body respond to different doses of a drug? To answer that, we introduce the concept of the dose-response curve. It's a graph that shows the relationship between the dose of a drug and the body's response to it. On one axis, we have the dose of the drug, and on the other, the magnitude of the response. As the dose increases, the response generally increases too, but only up to a certain point. Beyond this, increasing the dose doesn't increase the response, and we say the response has reached its maximum or saturation point. This curve is crucial in determining the effective dose of a drug and understanding its potential side effects. However, each drug has a unique dose-response curve, which can be influenced by various factors such as the individual's age, sex, health status, and genetic makeup. This is why the same dose of a drug can have different effects in different individuals. But how do we know what's the right amount of a drug to use? That's where the therapeutic index comes in. Finding the right drug dose is a delicate balancing act. Too little might not work, and too much could be harmful. This is where the concept of the therapeutic index comes in. It's a measure used in pharmacology that compares the dose of a drug that produces a therapeutic effect to the dose that causes toxicity. In simpler terms, it's a way of determining the safe and effective dose range of a drug. A higher therapeutic index indicates a larger margin of safety, while a lower one suggests a narrow range between therapeutic and toxic doses. This balance is crucial in determining the right dosage of a drug. It's a delicate dance between efficacy and toxicity, a dance that pharmacologists and doctors choreograph carefully to ensure the best outcome for patients. And that, dear viewers, is a quick dive into the fascinating world of pharmacodynamics.